Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Tuesday and it is 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm so excited that you're taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. We've got another living legend on the show today. Call somebody, tell them you need to tune in. So you don't want to miss a beat. Call them up, tell them, come on. You don't want to miss this show. We got a great guest, first time on the show today, so he's going to be joining us in a minute. He's in the green room. I got him locked in, y'all. So y'all just stand by. So the first thing I want to do is always, I want to give a shout out to my mentor. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. And out of the 30 plus years, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to him and his family. And one of the reasons why I talk about mentors as much as I do, because I want people to understand the value of having a mentor. Somebody that can pray for you, somebody that can help navigate, help you get through this thing called life, and help you wind up on a good place in order to be able to understand, wow, I knew that was coming because my mentor told me about it. So another reason why I talk about getting a mentor is because I want you to get a mentor. Get somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can count on, and then I want you to be able to work with them. Let them help you get to where you're trying to go, and then you can get a show so you can shout your mentor out. I want to invite you guys to join me on my website, ask-dr-ron.com. When you get over there, I want you to take a look around. We got lots of pluggers and flyers over there that you can learn more about the people that help sponsor our show. Without these sponsors, I don't know what I'd be able to do. So I'm going to talk about three of them right now. Serve Synergy. Serve Synergy, if you're interested in finding out about solar panels and solar energy, because the country is moving in those directions, you're going to want to talk to them. They have training classes. They also are teaching people how to be certified and becoming solar technicians. So they're doing some great things in the community. So you definitely want to reach out to Serve Synergy. If you want to put solar panels on your house, they can help you navigate the contract to help you understand what's going on in the solar space. Okay? So if you click on the banner, it'll take you right to their website, and you can talk to somebody that can help inform you on how that solar space works. The second one I want to talk about is Pour It Again Sam. Pour It Again Sam brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. I tell you, it's been kind of rough lately because they've been talking about tariffs and things like that, but he's still got a great inventory of your new favorite wine. So what I would encourage you to do is reach out to him, set up a wine tasting, you and your people, so that you can find out what your new favorite wine or cognac is going to be, because you don't want to miss out on this opportunity in order to get some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. All right, and Prince Hunter Financial Group. Prince Hunter Financial Group are a group of educators that are teaching people about the stock market and the Forex market. If you always were wondering how people can make money in the stock market, how you can get off your 9-to-5 job, Prince Hunter Financial Group is helping people do just that. If you learn about the stock market, you can quit your 9-to-5 and make your money the same time the big Fortune 500 companies do. So I encourage you, give them a call. They got a special promotion going on right now. If you call them up, they're offering 4 free classes. I'm going to say it again, 4 free classes. So when you call them up, tell them you heard about it on the Ask Dr. Ron show, and you would like to get your 4 free classes, help you get started understanding about the stock market. Now, the stock market has been having great big leaps and bounds lately. And if you want to find out how you can make some money out of that, this is a good time. This is a good time to learn what's going on. Okay? So, like I said before at the beginning of the show, we've got a first time guest on the show. Mr. Will, I always call him Mr. Will. Mr. Will has been, following me for a while. He has a group of friends that are all close. We've had Osei on the show. We've had Doris on the show, and they're all good friends together. And I just want to welcome to the show for the very first time, Mr. Will.
Hey, Dr. Ron, thanks a lot. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show today.
Yeah.
I want to see how to be out there.
Yes, thank you. So let's start out by talking about now. Usually, when I get somebody on the show with a lot of gray hair, I know that they got a lot of stories to tell. So why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, Dr. Ron, I was raised here in Chicago most of my life, but I was born down in McAllister, Oklahoma. And my folks, early on as a baby, brought me and my sisters up here to Chicago. So I've been in Chicago for most of my life. I graduated from Lindblom Tech High School on the southwest side of the city and have been involved with a variety of community groups over the last 50 years here in Chicago. And my wife and my family have been big supporters and very much involved with the activities. But I also, just in terms of education, I went away to college, a place called Luther College in Decorah, Iowa, where I got a BA in history, political science. And for some folks out there probably said, okay, so I ended up being a teacher. Well, no, I ended up actually being an engineer. And so I ended up coming back to Chicago. And my first job here in Chicago was with Illinois Bell as a assistant engineer. And a lot of things that you'll ask me later will probably tie into that. So that's a little bit of a sketch of my starts here.
So when you started with the phone company, was it still Illinois Bell, Ma Bell, as they used to call it?
Yes, it was. In fact, it was Illinois Bell, and I had an opportunity to actually work with about 5 sections of AT&T. So that was what they call the operating company. So it was Illinois Bell.
Okay. All right. So now, when you were with them as an engineer, they were still doing analog systems, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So when I came in, my training, the transition was actually I had to get retrained here in Chicago by the Bell School Center of Technical Education, which is in Lowell, Illinois. And Dr. Ron, you're right. At that time, it was mainly analog. But because of the training, I was also in 5 different sections of Illinois Bell. I was in marketing, engineering, and also in operations with AT&T. And I was part of that transition from analog to digital.
Okay.
So I had several projects that actually dealt with that.
Okay. So you were part of the founding fathers that helped with the transition.
Well, more if you remember that time as they were breaking up Illinois, but I was part of that founding fathers trying to figure out which group I'm going to be in. And later on in HR, I actually was part of the team as career consultant to help individuals move across all of AT&T in the country to use their skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and I don't know if you still know or kept in touch with them. They're using fiber optics now, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, they were doing that when I was there. In fact, when I was involved with the Illinois Bell part, that was the beginning of AMP service, which became your mobile service. The fiber optics was being brought in. Video conferencing was also being brought in, and also the use of the new technologies of what they call carrier systems to condense less use of wire. So all of that was happening while I was Illinois Bell.
Yeah. Now, and you mentioned this at one time. AT&T and Illinois Bell were part of the same company. And then they had a big separation where all long distance companies started to establish themselves, and then local carriers began to, establish themselves. So, and then you stayed with the Illinois, the AT&T side.
Well, actually, most individuals did not realize it was 19 subsegments of AT&T.
Okay.
So you had operating companies, you had AT&T loan lines, you had uh, like Bell Labs, you had Western
All right.
Electric
All right.
and Sandia. So actually, I had opportunity to work. There was a part of AT&T that most people probably don't remember. It's called American Bell. It was an
Mm,
experiment for about 2 years. It was kind of the
okay.
independent inside of that. So I actually had a chance to work in AT&T Loan Lines, American Bell, also AT&T Corporate, and special assignments in New York and a couple of places in the country.
Okay. So you did a lot of traveling.
I did, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, now that was how long did you stay with the phone company? Let me ask you that.
I was with AT&T for 20 years,
Okay.
and I was actually when I finished up, I was actually in AT&T's what they call HR group, a part of corporate, tied into what you were talking about with the subsegments of the company. I actually was a career consultant that worked with a team of about 25 in the country to go to the locations that were actually being broken up. So exactly as you said, as the companies were being broken up and separated, there was a need to identify the skills and resources of who was inside the company and to try to help them to get to other parts as the company was being split.
Yeah. I remember back when I was a young man, years and years ago, we used to make phone systems. I used to work for a
Hmm.
company called GTE. You remember them?
Hmm. Sure. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So they were in the Chicago suburban area, and I used to work on the night shift. So they used to have assembly lines, building
Right.
these big, giant, answering service machines. That's basically what it was, an answering service, And I remember there were other companies like Sylvania, RCA that were doing the same type of thing. That was the big thing back then, building these big, giant systems. Yeah.
Well, the type of engineering that I did was called special services. It actually connected all the corporations in Illinois have what they call special lines for their corporate offices and for their executives. That's to connect back to like you're talking about the GTE systems. There are special switching systems, but there's also major switching systems that you have for AT&T, which was across long lines across the country. So I had opportunity in engineering to do special services lines like United Airlines, for example, or for FAA locally. But that actually would tie into some of the other projects where we talk about fiber optics or use carrier systems or microwave. We
Mm-hmm.
would specially design special lines to be able to connect things together and use a variety of companies' equipment.
Wow.
So I actually had a special project that actually connected. We oversaw 48 of the largest campuses in the state of Illinois,
Okay.
looking at special services. So we kind of got involved with a few things.
Yeah. So, man, with all that stuff going on, how did you manage to get involved in the community? Because I understand you have a very large community presence. Like as we're speaking today, you're hiding upstairs from a food pantry where they're passing out food in the community,
Right.
as well as some of the other community activity. I understand you have a Masonic presence,
Yes. Right.
a Rotary presence. With all of that career wise, how did you manage to get into those?
Yeah. Let me tie the back. The second career that was my business part, which is for the last 30 years, I've been in financial services.
Okay.
And so one of the things in doing the financial services was quite a bit of activity with the community. But my actual community activities started as soon as I came out of college, and I got involved with a group called National Technical Association, which was Black Scientists Engineers, and that would be back in like 1972, 73 timeframe. And that, for many years, I was part of as a local president, working with colleges, other professionals, everything from astrophysicists to zoologists to engineers, scientists, Bell Labs people to NASA. And so uh, that was really the juice for me. That really got me excited um, because we had conferences all over the country, and it was two things that we did. Number one is keep each other informed about the latest in technology. And the second thing was to inform the community about the importance of what the impact of technology would be. So we actually had two national conventions here in Chicago, 1980, 1988. One at the Palmer House, the other one was over at McCormick Inn, which was dealing with the importance of quality of life in the Black community. And so because of that involvement, that kind of just has been a thread all the way through, in addition to being involved with the church I'm at right now, Windsor Park, for the last 40 some years. And so along the way, we had a chance to talk about technology, talk about the impact of education in college, also be involved with community things such as making sure individuals with food, clothing, and so forth. So it's been a continuous stream for me. It's been pretty much nonstop, actually.
Hmm. And it started with the church and then splintered out into other things?
Yes, the church involvement itself, even with the church, I've been part of the Metro Chicago Senate. I chaired the Multicultural Committee for 6 years, looking at the diversity of like Hispanic, Latino, Black, Native American, Asian, hearing impaired. And so tied into my business with the financial services, I had a chance to help fund some things for community awareness and also like healthy communities, healthy youth. So everything kind of from the business side, had a chance to bring it over even when I was at AT&T, bring it over into the community. Like, do you know about this, or do you know how to use what we have? So it's always been back and forth. So I've actually had, like, at any given time, 2 or 3 careers kind of going parallel.
Hmm. Yeah. And then I understand that the financial side of things. Now, do you still have connections in the financial side?
Yeah, I'm still licensed as a licensed insurance agent.
Okay.
I'm semi-retired, but I still periodically deal with that too.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw this, public service announcement out there now. Um, with the tariffs being out there, where other countries are upset and very difficult to understand what America's trying to do right now. I mentioned on my show this past Saturday that now's a good time to begin to support black businesses. It's time to build black entrepreneurs up, keep them up and going. And that's why I kind of asked that question, in your Rolodex of people, because I can probably give you 3 or 4 different black entrepreneurs that are trying to stay stable at this particular time, so if they reach out to you, you might be able to help them and point them in the right direction with that.
Yeah. I'll put out a plug for my son right now. He is
All right.
I just, yeah, no, I do it from a international point of view. My oldest son is the dean of the business school of University of California, Irvine. We just was with him this weekend, but he literally travels around the world, and his area of specialty is the area of human capital value. And just literally he's on his way to Japan pretty soon. He just came back from several other countries in the last few weeks. But one of the reason why when you say that, it's now a time for us to relook at how to not only do business in the United States, but on an international level.
Absolutely.
And there is a group of Black PhDs that get together, about 200, which you've been here just a few weeks ago, who look at the impact of academics, but also what's going on internationally. So definitely.
Okay. Well, good. After we get
That's
off the air, I'm gonna give you at least one person I know that's
sure.
he's a chef, as a matter of fact, and
Okay.
and of course with the price of food being totally outrageous, they're hurting right now. So
Definitely.
I'm gonna hook you up with one of my closest. He's been on the show many times before. Man, great food. So we'll talk about it off the air. But now,
Yeah.
what was some of the other community organizations? I mentioned Rotary. I mentioned
Yeah.
Masonic. So you pick one and tell us what's going on with that.
Well, well, where do I start? I've actually on the both corporate wise, I've sit on the boards of Advocate Healthcare, Lutheran Social Services of Illinois, and I've also been part of the Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago. And in all those areas I've been on those boards looking at what the impact is in the community, whether it's from a social health type of situation to how individuals are treated in the hospital when they're there for like having a chaplain.
Mm-hmm.
And then the outreach from that has been like in the, say, in the Masonic type thing. I'm Inspector General 33rd degree, and I've been involved with a variety of community activities, one of which we do help distribute toys around holiday seasons. And I get those through the church here, and I also move it through about 15 different organizations each year. We've been doing that for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the terms, one of the probably the biggest area of impact, um, I was involved for many years with the Museum of Science Industry, Black Creativity. Um, I I'm actually a past chair of Black Creativity, which is also the largest celebration of Black History Month in the country. But during that period of time on the board there, we were involved with a exhibit called Black Achievers in Science, which highlighted 100 individuals involved with the sciences, math, and technology. And for several years, I traveled around the United States. It was actually the number one traveling exhibit in the country for a while. So, sort of, Dr. Ron, the way that has worked for me, whatever I've been doing in the business world, I try to see how pieces of it can come back to the
Mm-hmm.
community in terms of information. Sometimes it's in terms of equipment, like at Bell Labs had surplus equipment. We were able to get the equipment and move it to a school that at that time needed it. We also had a chance to have individuals who are students to be recommended to go to certain companies because they were looking
Mm-hmm.
for jobs. So yeah, it's kind of going into the Rotary part, which I've been doing now continuously for the last 28 years. We've been involved everything from helping with getting water wells in areas that have bad water outside the country, sun ovens into Africa, working with other chapters and organizations to our club. And then here in Chicago, we celebrate that on 87th and Stony Island, there's a clock tower, and
Mm-hmm.
that clock tower was initiative from our club to celebrate the 100-year celebration of Rotary, which is actually started here in Chicago.
Right.
But our club is actually the very first predominantly African American club in the United States. And you mentioned Osei. We also had Brother Osei become the first district governor of African descent
Absolutely.
to be the head of that Rotary district, which is over 50 some clubs. So I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the map.
No, no, no. You right on point, man. I get it.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I was his MC for his inaugural.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So do Sable.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you all just celebrated last week the anniversary of the
That's
club,
correct. That's correct.
the first African.
Yes.
Am I saying it right? First African American club underneath the Illinois. Is that correct? Did I
No,
say
no,
it right?
in the
Okay.
country.
In the country.
In the
Okay.
country. Right, in the country. Yeah,
Okay.
we were sponsored. The reason why that's significant is just for the history of Rotary. Rotary was started in 1905 here in Chicago, and the first club is Rotary One. The headquarters for Rotary International, which covers over 30,000 clubs around the world, is actually up in Evanston, Illinois. So this is the hotbed here in Chicago for Rotary, for all the clubs in the world. So our club was actually sponsored by the very first club, which is Rotary One. So it was a major thing when we put together, at that time, about 40 some individuals from around the city to charter the club. And so we're very proud of that. And then the reason why I mentioned the clock tower, it was our project during the 100-year anniversary to leave something that shows significance that our club could make a gift to Rotary. And if you stop and look at the plaque over there, it will show that it was in reference to the 100-year anniversary of Rotary itself.
Absolutely. Congratulations. So how was the event last week? Let's ask that question.
Well, it was great. I was at the Paul Harris House again, another history thing. Paul
Mm-hmm.
Harris House over in Beverly. is the house of one of the founders of Rotary. And we had a nice, intimate group of Rotarians and family and friends to recognize that, again, we had made it to another year. And that also it honored Doris Harris Gills and myself for being chartered members of the club. And but more importantly, just to remind everyone that you wake up in the morning and you have an idea, and sometimes you can make things happen someplace in the world just because you're thinking of it, or someplace else in the United States. And so we were reminding ourselves with some of the projects that we have done over the last 28 years. And so it was a great celebration.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to recruit you on the air. Osei's got a project that I have been hanging on his coattail with about getting water to a school in Haiti, in the mountains, Marmalade, Haiti. I've been pressing him every year, every year, every year. We got to get these kids some water up there in that mountain, man. And, so I want to get you on board publicly. Help him get that water to them kids up there in that mountain in Marmalade, Haiti. Yep, that's a project.
There was the projects in the past of the water wells there in Haiti, after the hurricane. So yeah, let's have a conversation. I think Osei would be a person that would definitely know how to do that particular
Yeah, he's been
connection.
quarterbacking him for a couple of years now, and it's just it takes time. We've got the machine or the manufacturer of the machine that can generate water out of the atmosphere. We
Okay.
just got to get it there so them kids can get fresh drinking water. And the problem with it, for those that want to sign on or help out or whatever, I'm just going to briefly say this. Um, Water from the top of the mountain flows down, but there's no place from the top, in the middle, or at the top to be able to get access to the water. So the water flows down to the bottom. You got a beautiful pond down there. But if you want the water at the top of the mountain, you got to carry it up or pump it up or something like that. So we ran across an engineer that makes a machine that draws moisture from the atmosphere. So all we have to do is get the machine at the top of the mountain and let those kids have water, as much water as they want. They can get it out that machine. So that has been a personal project of mine that I know the apostle and my apostle has been over there bringing them shoes, generators, things of that nature. He's been servicing them since they had the earthquake over there many years ago, and they're like a family. And every time I hear they need something, I try to figure out a way to make it happen. So that's that story. So I'm just recruiting you to help Osei.
Well,
Yeah.
when I first got involved with Rotary, one of the things that occurred was there was a dental office that was going out of business on the southwest side.
Hmm.
He made contact with us and got not to me personally, but to our club. And we got the dental equipment, got it stored, and we actually got it sent to Central America. And part of our
Okay.
club went down there as part of that. And Osei, as you know, has joined a few folks to go over there to Nigeria to give shots with polio. And we just recently, we've been working on two projects. One in Sierra Leone, recently to help create a library. And then there is also two projects going on to try to create libraries there in two locations there in Nigeria. So there's some individuals in the club that, when you get a good idea, they try to create it. And I know just recently, our current president, Eve Green, just came back from Ghana.
Yeah.
And I know that she just sent something out trying to get some help for something that's going on in Ghana. So it's
It's enough work to go
I like
around.
to say it's more than enough, and ideas and money and time
Right.
is what's that is necessary.
Yeah. Now, I heard through the grapevine, not too long ago, that you were blessed enough to receive a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. So how did that make you feel?
Well, it made me feel great. Thank you, Dr. Ron, for being part of the process. One of the things that when you asked the question at the beginning, when did all this stuff start happening with this volunteer community effort? I had to look back when I was in college, back in the days of civil rights stuff, that, you know, many of our students spoke out, particularly the Black Student Union. And I didn't realize how it had taken impact on me and my life and my wife, and my kids, that it's always important to be doing something in the community. It's always important to be sharing. It's always important to take your resources and your stewardship that you have available. It doesn't mean it's a lot of money, but it is your time. So to get the recognition, the President's Award, um, it no, it made it. It's good to be recognized. It's good to know that you're not just doing things. It's not being seen or have an impact. And in the last several years, I've been favored with receiving several different rewards and awards for doing things. And it was not what I was doing it for. I was doing it because I thought it was necessary to get things done. And that's why I do what I do now. It's not for the fanfare. It's really about, did, is there a message, or is there something like that water on top of the mountain, or getting the water from the bottom of the mountain, or getting some kind of scholarship for a student who never realized that they were capable of going to a certain school. And I just, as we were talking earlier on something else, I recognize in even my own family, sometimes you say something and you end up having family members end up going around the world because you mentioned something, and they go out for themselves to find out what you're talking about. And this
Absolutely.
past weekend, I was very much blessed to have feedback about that.
Yeah. Now, I think I did meet your son when we were at the award ceremony. Was that your
Uh,
son that was there?
Actually, I have six sons.
Oh, okay.
So
I know a couple of them were
something.
there at that
Yeah, that's
event.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. What one of the sons that was at the event, actually, he is well, two of them. One of them is an environmental scientist. He's right now down in St. Louis working at a conference. The other son that you met was also in the military. He was a is support special forces in Afghanistan and Iraq. And but he also is, him and his friend had created the organization Leave No Veteran Behind. There's processed at this point in time about at least about 700, 800 veterans who have come out of the military,
Hmm.
help them get their benefits and get them
Right,
reestablished.
right. That
But he
is a
also at this,
process. Yeah.
yeah, he's also right now a photographer and has been doing exhibits of his work around the country. He actually just recently came back from Ghana of doing some photography work last year.
Hmm.
But that's why I can say having individuals in your family know what you're doing, they take it to the next level.
Right.
Some of the things they're doing, I had no imagination that they would be doing those things.
Yeah. Well, once again, congratulate you for all that you have done. One of the things about the receiving the award, there were many members of your organization that have received awards as well, and they all were more than qualified to, be able to receive that award because of all the things that they have done and continuously to do. You know, People don't recognize that there are heroes like yourself in the community, and part of what I do here on the show is I like to bring heroes and sheroes that people don't know about to the forefront for people to see who you are, put a face with it. Oh, you did that? Oh, you were the one that did that? Yeah, he's the one. You the one. So I applaud you and thank you for all that you have done because it's so much. I just can't thank you just one time. I got to thank you for everything that you've been involved in, and being a businessman, a career, and still, like I said, today when I started the conversation, y'all got food pantry going on downstairs
Yeah.
in the church where you are right now. Now, how long have you all been doing that?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Dr. Ron. We've been doing the food pantry for over 30 years,
30
and
years.
continuously. We also didn't stop during COVID. We serve here at Windsor Park Lutheran Church is on 76 in Saginaw. So we're over here in the South Shore community, And one of the things that we do is twice a week, on Tuesday and on Saturday, is serve this community. And as some of you may know, this is actually a food desert, because you
Yeah.
get past Stony Island, and you go east from 67th Street down to 79th Street. Many of the stores have, of course, gone to smaller mom and pop stores, or they've closed, any of the larger ones. But there's another issue, just like the state right now, because of what's going on with the country right now, with the USDA foods and some of the other things that's happening with the farmers. Uh, we can't take the food pantries for granted, because the Greater Chicago Food Depository is getting less food. And we
Yeah.
also work with the World Vision on the west side. So over the last several years, we're not getting the same quantities of food that we used to get. And with some of the changes that are now occurring, I feel that it could be some challenges. We had quite a few of the food pantries closed down during COVID. We figured a way of keep going through it by, dressing properly, taking all the precautions. But even with that, we had dealings with other food pantries that had to close. And so one of the concerns I have going into the future, just so you know, here at the church, I'm the president of the church council and one of the deacons. And so our mission is to be a hub in the community, not just with food, but information, services, and trying to make sure people spiritually have an opportunity to come in and be able to at least have a place to come. So I do have some concerns right now, Doctor. It's, we see it. We,
You froze up a little bit there. You still there?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we got you back. We got you back. It froze up for a second there. You know,
Okay.
yeah. So you say you have some concerns right now.
Yeah. The concerns is just if there's enough resources going to be still coming into our community to take care of people. That's we work with University of Chicago. We've worked with Rush on some of the medical stuff that they come in periodically do some testing, and we work with the Greater Chicago Food Depository to provide food. But healthy people, you can get to keep their attention. But if people are hungry or if they're sick,
Right.
it's very hard to have a conversation. So
Absolutely.
we're working to have a healthy community first, because just talking to people who are starving or who have hunger or who have a health issue, they don't necessarily hear you.
Right. That's true. That's true. You got to solve. I liked what Debbie Allen said, the dancer, many many years ago. Um, she was making an answer because there were so many people that had their hand out trying to get solutions to things that were going on, and everybody had a different cause. And her response to them was, because we got so many things wrong in our community, we need so many things.
Yeah.
So that's so relevant even still to this day. There are people that are out there cooking hot food, providing tents and shelter, and when it gets too cold to be out in the tent, then they have to go indoors somewhere. But people are working, and a lot of people. I'm gonna say this. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this. I look at, I guess they're community activists that are upset about, what they call the migrants, the immigrants, what they can call them whatever they want to call them, they people, and they've
Yeah.
come here and the city has put them up in various buildings that were empty and locations across the city. And they're riding around talking about, look, they getting more stuff than we getting. And we got homeless people in the community that won't nobody do nothing for. Well, unfortunately, they're out there, sounding this battle cry on their own. And I'm like, how many homeless people have you been interviewing to find out what they need and what they want and what they're willing to change to do something different? So only person I hear is you. You out there, crying and making noise, talking about you jealous of what they getting. They need too.
Yeah.
We all God's children, okay? They brown skinned, they light skinned, and some of us, I'm light skinned, I can't complain, But at the end of the day, You gotta want
Yeah.
something. They traveled thousands of miles to get here. They were dumped on our doorstep. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? Take them out on the lake and make fish bait out of them? No, you got to do what you can. And people who might have a roof over their head ought to have compassion for somebody who don't. And if they're
Right.
worried about the homeless people, take them to their house and feed them once a week, twice a week. Then they got a right to complain. I'm feeding these homeless
Right.
people 3 times a week and ain't nobody helping me. Okay, well, we'll get you some help. You know what I'm saying? So, you
Yeah.
have to look at all sides of the story. We were put on a boat and came across here on a middle passage. And when we got here, we didn't have nothing going for us. And then we worked for 200 years without pay. And we still haven't even got a thank you yet.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the thing with the migrant. We have every type of person that we've seen in the line, of course, over these years, and with this most recent group of individuals who have come into Chicago, we've run into conflicts in the line with individuals saying, "Look, I was here first," and this kind of thing. But we can't, here as a church and as individuals, we deal with people, as you already said, as human beings who need to be, again, give somebody some food, give someone some education, give them a chance for shelter. You'll find out how quickly you begin to learn. They'll start listening. They'll even accept some of your culture quickly because you've been a good humanitarian,
Absolutely.
a good steward. You know,
Absolutely.
so I understand exactly what you're saying, and sometimes we have to step back. We, particularly, and as African Americans in this country, with the 400-year experience that we've had, we're the experts. We know how to deal with when we talk about soul, that's soul food. I Jeff is a cook chef, and he had his own little restaurant, so I can appreciate the importance of food.
Yeah, it's important, man. It's important. You breaking up a little bit again. It's important to have compassion in our
Sure.
hearts for everybody, not just some folks, but for everybody. That's the key. And the more compassion that we have in our heart, then the more we can be a vessel to be used for people to be blessed. That's what it's all about, helping one another. And in what you're really doing, a lot of people don't realize you're creating an ally.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're creating an ally. So look, we got about 15 minutes left in the show. So what are some of the things that you got coming up that you would like to talk to the people about? Oh man,
Well,
your
in
internet
terms
must be
of,
running out of money. Must be running
I
out of
can
money
take
because it's
Rotary,
starting.
for example.
Yeah.
We're working on.
You still there? Hello?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still there.
freezing. It's freezing up. It look like your
Yeah,
quarters didn't ran out.
yeah. I don't,
Yeah, yeah. Your internet only got a time limit on it.
let
Like,
me go out
oh
to the.
no, yeah, it's coming back. Come on.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me go out to the. Let me get out to the parking meter. Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. So, in terms of things, I'm actually finishing up one thing, which is I just been involved for the last 9 years with the Attorneys Registration Disciplinary Commission, and so I just finished up with that. So now I'm looking more at here at the church. We're looking at we have a community garden, and
Mm-hmm.
in the community garden, we have about 18 of the community residents that have gardens inside of the garden itself. And we also are looking at adding, we actually have two beehives that we are actually producing some honey. And tied into that, we're looking at getting some of the youth. The last 3 years, we've done bicycle rebuilding programs.
Okay.
So we rebuilt bikes. And we also have been looking at working with a couple of churches to do a food co-op support to them on 79th Street. And inside of that, we are looking at the youth learning skills about how to raise food and to eat nutritious. So that's one of the things for the summer we're working, and that's from the church base. And then for the Rotary, I know that there are some projects that we're looking at to try to finish up with the library project. That's two projects going on in Nigeria. There's been a few little challenges with the logistics of it, but we're trying to get those projects finished up also. And that again goes back to the club as a whole, the Rotary Club Chicago Southeast, and working with the district itself. So that's a few things kind of going on at this time.
Okay. All right. And if people are interested in supporting either of these projects, your email is underneath the bottom of your name there, where they can send you an email
Yes,
and
yes,
reach out to you and offer services
yes,
that
if
they
you
can
can.
help. Down at the church, they don't have to be a member of the church to come help you, right?
That's correct. What they do need to do is make contact. So when we have volunteers, we kind of have to vet the volunteers and make sure that we get them in with the time and making sure they know exactly what we have to do to be able to serve the clients that come here.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have interest in the food pantry, uh, so send me a note and I would forward it over to our coordinators for the food pantry. Go from there.
Yeah. Now they don't have to take any classes or anything to be able to handle the food, do they? You gonna say it
No, no,
again?
no. Because
Yeah.
cooking the food, we're
Yeah.
dealing with packaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not handling cooking the food.
Right.
They're handling like canned goods and packaged goods, and usually um, distributing the box at the door.
Okay. Good, 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 good. Now, I know this is, I think this Sunday is Easter, right? Do you have anything special for the church planned?
It's coming up in yeah, well, when we do get to Easter, actually, there is a series of Lent services that we are part of a group of 18 African American Lutheran churches that are sharing Lent services. So we've been rotating services at various churches over the last 3 weeks, and then we will finish up with a couple of special services like Shekinah Temple out in Riverdale, for example, and then for the individual churches, like for ours, we will have men's breakfast on Sunday morning, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's our opportunity as men to fix a breakfast, which is our tradition here at Windsor Park. And each of the churches have the ones that we're involved with, uh, they have their own special events. But for us, we are getting geared up for one for the Easter itself, and then also for the men's breakfast, and
Okay.
which will be on Easter Sunday at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. That's too early for me. I ain't getting up that early.
Had to save you. I had to save your plate.
Yeah,
Okay,
just send me a picture. I was like, whoop, they got it down. Yeah. So
got it.
I know I want to ask this question. Did we get a chance to talk about everything? Did we miss anything that you wanted to talk about?
Um, well, I think in terms of growing up in Chicago, I had the experience being in Bronzeville from 37th Street all the way to like 49th from State Street over to Ellis, and so. But the one thing for me, being a Chicagoan, I really love having been around the city quite a bit, and I've done a little bit of traveling, so I've been outside the country a little bit, and I find that if you allow yourself to really appreciate Chicago for all of its history, when you travel, you can really appreciate the beauty of the city.
Yeah.
And as I've gone to other countries, I've never felt like I was lacking anything because there's a lot of things that being a history person also, I really saw how Chicago's been in the middle of a lot of activities for the world. So that's kind of what sits inside of me, in terms of what really turns me on and gets me fired up.
I know that's right. That's a beautiful thing. Once again, I got to thank you, man, for taking time in the midst of your busy schedule I know you've been so busy, and you slid me in the midst of what's going on today. And I just thank you so very much, man. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. I just can't thank you enough. You know, yeah,
I appreciate what you do for individuals like myself to have a chance to say a few words and exposing other individuals to all of the different activities and professionals and the activists that are involved in the community. And that's no small thing to do. I mean, it's really good for our community to realize that people out here trying to make things happen, and
absolutely.
that's wonderful. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, sir. Now, I always ask two questions because, like I said, your internet is going in and out, but you're in right now, so we're gonna keep on going. I always ask two questions before I end the show. First question is, will you come back and get to see me again?
Sure.
You had to think about it for a minute. We'll make it work on your schedule. Don't worry about it.
No. I got to think of what else am I going to tell you?
Hey, you can say no. I respect that. You so busy, you ain't got time. But since you said yes, we got it on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why I do that. So I can get it on the record. I can go back to the video. I'm like, hey, I got you on video now.
Okay.
And then the next question that I like to always ask is, what would you like to leave with the people before you leave today?
I've kind of mentioned it. I believe that in our community, and I think in the United States period, we need to be on top of our health and looking at the most efficient use of our time, and then look at our resources and how to best use them. Because we're going to have some challenges coming up these next few years. But if your health is not there, it's very hard to do something. And if you don't allocate the time, whether it be with family, your organizations, community, friends, next thing you know, you missed an opportunity. But then, in terms of resources, I haven't been the last 30 years in terms of financial services. One of the things is you need to value your life because your impact of what you do, who you talk to, how you show up, who you're able to support. And when I say support, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about sometimes just your conversation at the right time can change history.
Yes.
And I've had those moments in my life where I've said something, I didn't think it was that big a deal. And I've had people call me from around the country, said, hey, I just did what you just talked about. And I'm going like, what was that? It was just a conversation.
Right.
They said, no. In fact, I want you to come to Kansas City. I want you to come here. I go like, when did this happen? No, because when you said that, I wasn't even thinking about that. And I went back home and man, we can make this happen. So it's really, I get excited, take care of your health, watch your time, and then try to figure what resource you have when it comes together that you can actually be a participant in what you created. And I'm only speaking from my own history. When I started doing this community and business and church stuff, I was always wondering, how am I going to do that? But it was never that. It's like once you say it and you believe it and you get excited about it, you can pull off some fantastic projects. And I've been part of some of those things, and I want to leave with that statement.
Absolutely. Thank you once again for all that you do and all that you've done. Keep up the great work. And as you already know, I guess I'm an honorary member of some of the stuff y'all do. They won't let me get away from it too much, but anything I can do to be of assistance, motivation, encouragement, whatever I can, please don't hesitate. You got my number, reach out to me, and we'll see what we can do to make something happen. And if I can't do it, I'm going to send a representative. How about that?
Sounds great.
Yes. Well, thank you once again. We're going to ease on out of here while your internet is still in place. Stay right there. We're going to end the show. You just stay right there. I want to invite you guys to join. Yes, I'm going to invite you guys to join me tomorrow, Wednesday, on Street News Now, 12 noon. where we talk about news commentaries about what's going on in our community, and so that we can get a better understanding. Some of the things that we got going on in our community is that we don't have good information. People don't understand what's going on. So that's what we try to do. We try to help educate, give you guys some information. Join us tomorrow, Street News Now, 12 noon, and get a good commentary from us on what we're talking about. I want to invite you guys to join me each and every Saturday from the desk of Dr. Ron. That's when I get an opportunity to tell you guys what's on my mind. Now, some of y'all can't handle what's on my mind, but I'm going to get it to you anyway. So come and join me each and every Saturday right here on the network, and tune in to see what craziness that comes out of my mouth each and every Saturday. I want to thank all of those that have made contributions and donations up to this point in time. Thank you so very much. This is all of the ways that you can make contributions. I work off of what you send. If you don't send it, then I guess it's going to be rough this week. But please continue to send donations and contributions. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for those that have done it, and those that are going to do it. Thank you ahead of time. Also, I want to tell you, while you're here, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Send this out. We always need to, acknowledge when you see something that was interesting to you. So please share it. Send it out. Let people know, hey, this is what's going on in our community. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in, being a part of what we do here. And I look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow at 12 noon. So I just want to say I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.